in progress.
All right.
Welcome to our second episode. My name is Joyce Kinney. I am the host of this podcast, Parenting in the Cocoon, where we equip parents with practical tools to support their team. Here today, we are continuing our episode from last night, where we were hosting my son Gabriel Kinney, and now we have my daughter Naomi Kinney. And Naomi, we are talking about the topic that every parent encounters, and it's the parent-child relationships during teenage years. So you wasn't here yesterday, so you don't know what any of these topics. So I'm going to give you a heads up. We were talking about parents supporting mental health, parents helping their child support in their academics, with peer relationships and life skills. And if you want to add something in that with that, you can. But what I actually do right now for our listening audience and those that are watching, if you would just briefly introduce yourself and just tell us where you're at right now in life.
Okay. All right. So my name is Naomi Kinney, formerly known in uniform as Pirate First Class Kinney, but soon to be Specialist Kinney. Um. Where am I? I'm 19 years old. Uh. I go to Fayetteville State University. I'm a nursing major. I'm also in the North Carolina Army National Guard. But I do want to fully disclose that I am not a part of. I do not represent the Department of Defense in any way, shape, or form. But with that being said, um, yes, full-time student at Fayetteville State University. What else? I work a side job, of course, in fast food to, because it's essential. And also, I have my own entrepreneurship, my own side hustle, if you will, my own entertainment industry, if you will, called Party Never Ends Entertainment. While myself, I am the CEO and the DJ. Um, yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. Okay. So last week, thank you for that, and I appreciate you being here. You
Yeah.
and your brother, just taking the time out, knowing that this was a dream for me. Um, as far as with Amira's Enterprises, my heart passion is with families and parents to be able to have those relationships with their youth. I've always had a passion for that. And I was telling your brother, I said, what better opportunity it is for me to show the world um, the fruits of what it is I'm trying to do. So it's not just me having a passion for something, but like just showing that my passion for what I'm doing was able to be utilized with the raising of my own very two children.
Right.
So that's what the whole thing is. So our topic, of course, in the Mirrors Enterprises, we have a whole bunch of different type of uh things to offer, but this topic or this podcast is just referring to the parenting in the cocoons. That's pretty much for the parenting in teenage during teenage years.
Right.
So the topics that we had yesterday when I was interviewing your brother was about supporting mental health, and I asked him. I'm not going to remember verbatim what I said, but um, how important or what would you advise parents, or how important was it to you or is it to you for parents to know how to support their youth during this time period as far as their mental health, and like is that something that they should check into, or how do you think parents should approach that, or even teens approaching that?
Um, Firstly, the mental health, like within children, teenagers, essentially, is very important because teenagers, like as we all know, puberty, it changes your body as much as it changes your mind. So, you know, going through puberty without having that sort of support system and like learning who you are and trying to figure out life and what you want to do, what you don't want to do, like how you want to go about adulthood is very pressured. Like it's a lot of pressure if you do not have people behind you that's like, hey, whatever you do, I'm still gonna be right behind you as long as you be successful in life. So yeah, definitely very important. Um, what else do you say? My advice I would give to parents, definitely be patient with your child for one. And for two, remember that your child is a human being, like, you know, because like I understand that that's your child, you want the best for them, and like you might not see stuff from their perspective, but at the same time, like your baby just got here, right? Like this is your child's first time on earth too. Like your child isn't going to know everything that you know, and they're still growing, they're still learning, they're still experiencing life, they're still, piggybacking from what they see from other people. They're still taking in contents to learn what to do with them within themselves. So definitely have patience, uh I would say give your kid room to grow, definitely. Because um if you just have them like contained in such a mental space where they feel like they can't learn for themselves, then they will. Even if you don't want them to learn for themselves or not, they will do it. Like so that's why overly strict parents breed sneaky children. Like because kids that not I'm not going to use the word or term roam freely, but parents who let their children experience life to an extent, I guess I say um they learn better. So so like so for example, if you were an overly strict parent to me, like I can't do nothing, I can't go nowhere, I can't go to like football games, I guess in high school, I can't join a club, then I'd eventually take it upon myself and be like, oh, she's not gonna let me go nowhere. That's all right. I'm just gonna do it by myself. So when she go to sleep at night, right? Then she go to sleep. I'm just gonna sneak in my window and then go to the football game. So now you're just continually like speaking a pattern of disobedience, unwillingly, unconsciously. So um, I'm not saying let your child just roam free, but I'm definitely saying like give them room to live while also being structured. Like for example, when I was an early teen, you would let me go places, but you were always there with me. And I didn't understand it like when I was that young, but I turned like 16, 17, I got my own car. I had more freedom. I was like, man, the whole time my mom was doing this stuff when I was 13, 14 years old, only to protect me because people's crazy out here. But I wasn't thinking that bad stuff can happen to me just because I am who I am. But that the reality of it is that bad stuff can happen to anybody, regardless of who you are or who you think you are. So yeah, I definitely didn't understand it like early adolescence at all. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was dumb. I thought, oh, my mom just wants to control me. She doesn't want me to have anything. She doesn't like me being out with my friends. But essentially, being played in the background from your standpoint, you were thinking if my child's going to be with her friends, her and her friends is going to be safe because I'm the only present, only parent present right here, right now in this moment. Like and like looking back at it now, I definitely appreciate it because my friends who were there with me and still with me now to this day, they'd be like, dang, Nate, like we could have really gotten into some crazy stuff back then. We 13, 14 years old because our peers was getting shot at and stuff. We 13, 14 years old trying to go to the movie theater, watch a cool movie, but your mom was just with us the whole time making sure we was all right. And it's just like looking back at it now, and also definitely a big like wisdom factor because 13, 14, I would not be thinking about the stuff that I know now that could happen like at all. I would think I was invincible, but the whole time like bullets ain't got no name on them, and especially in Fayetteville, like the way the violence is skyrocketing, like it's essential to protect your kids. But I would say like eventually when your child I guess gets the hang of trying to be an adult, then like loosen the slack just a tad bit because for example, I got my car when I was 15, 16. Um
15.
yeah, when
Like
I was
learn by
15.
yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my car when I was 15, but I never understood why my parents wouldn't let me just go wherever I want to, whenever I want to, how I want to, and I have my own car. But at the end of the day, I had to understand, even though yes, I did pay for the car with my own money, right? the car the car's insurance still gets billed under my parents' house, under my parents' name, under my parents' insurance. So regardless of the fact if I bought that car or not, that car is a liability to their financial assets. So whatever happens to the car happens to me, happens to all of us. And I had to learn that at some point in time.
Yeah.
But like definitely like now seeing like the amount of freedom I have because now I am essentially a grown woman. But like now, if like looking now, if I had this amount of freedom when I was 16, 15, freshly just bought a car, it would have been nasty. That's all I'm gonna say. It would big nasty. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been bad. It would
Yeah.
have been bad.
Okay. So just wrapping up. So that was a good thing. I think you touched a little bit on that peer relationship, which we'll still dive into that. But specifically with the mental health, um, talk to us a second about that part, specifically the mental health piece, teenagers and parenting.
I feel like um having a parent that's emotionally intelligent themselves will definitely benefit the child because if the child comes to the parent, hey mom, I'm feeling this way. Hey dad, I'm feeling this way. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know what these emotions are caused. And or like a kid comes to their parent, dad, I think I'm depressed. Dad, I think I have anxiety. Mom, I think I'm facing with mental battles. And in the average black household, the first thing would happen if you told your mom you're depressed, your mom would respond to depressed them dishes because you don't got no bills to pay.
Um,
You go to school, you eat for free, you got clothes on your back. I
mm,
pay for everything. I make sure you go out when you want to go out. I give you money in your pocket. You have no bills to stress over, no liabilities, no insurance, no cars, no assets, no financial damage, none of that. So in an adult's mind, uh I guess teenagers or children, period, being depressed is like a unicorn fantasy land because they affiliate depression with like financial struggles.
mm,
You do not have to have bills stacked up to the roof and the lights cut off and your water cut off to be depressed because especially if your child is definitely in middle school or high school. But and like if your child is not like with the group of people who's popular,
mm,
right? Because kids are evil. Like I'm sorry, kids are evil. They are. And it's even worse if you know your child is the bully and you're not doing anything about it to your child. Why? Because it is very much so possible that your child is going to this little girl every day at class saying, hey, you're big, hey, you're fat, hey, you're nasty, hey, you're ugly. The whole time he doesn't know that her mom is breaking her back every single day, working 12-hour shifts, working two jobs. There's no father side of the home, and she doesn't have money this week to get laundry detergent.
mm,
Right? That's a real thing. That is definitely a real reality, and it's very scary, and it's very disgusting, and it's very evil, right? So for mental health, one point I'm just going to throw this out there, and I'm going to piggyback to the parents in the child relationship. One, teach your kids how to be kind because kindness is free. Kindness doesn't cost anything. It is you don't owe it nothing because there ain't enough kindness in the world, and that is a big problem because you could be worried sick about your child at school that they're getting bullied and the whole time they're the aggressor, right? And it's very much so possible that one day your child can cause somebody's life being took out their own hands and they don't even know it,
mm,
just things that they say out their mouth. Back to the parent and the child relationship, dealing with mental health, it is very essential to be supportive and, well, comforting your child if or when they go through mental health battles, right? Because your kids 13, 11, 12, 15, 16, they just got on the earth, how many years like old they are, and they just started talking, walking 10 years ago. They just started reading 10 years ago, learned how to ride a bike 7 years ago. They don't know anything just as much as I do. So it's essential to be patient with your child and to not only be patient because you can be patient all you want to. Oh, it's going to take time for him or her to understand, this and that, and you're just like waiting stuff out. Hopefully, like saying if the this like if it clears up or whatever. Because you can be patient all you want to, but that doesn't mean that you're understanding what your child is going through, right? So because you can say all you want to your child's face, I support you. If we're going through this, we're going through it together. You could be here when you want to talk to me, and your child will know whether or not you really mean that when you say it to them. They will know that. And kids don't trust adults with personal information because you can go to the school, your kid can go to the school right now, talk to the counselor. Hey, I feel like I'm having suicidal thoughts. things of this nature. Like, I don't want to be here no more. It's too much pressure on me right now. And the first thing the counselor's going to do after you leave the office is call your mom. That's the first thing they're going to do. They're going to contact the parent. Obviously, because of like HIPAA laws or whatever, it has to be done. But still, the way they approach things sometimes isn't the best, right? But understand that adolescent mental health is just as important as adult mental health, right? Because adults have more experience in life. I'm not saying that it's more justifiable that adults go through mental health, but I'm just saying that adults have more experience in life because they've lived longer, they've seen, things. But kids, when we go through mental health, we don't understand what's going on, right? Because especially if they're having a lot of pressure, like being driven by their parents and stuff, because households come and play with mental health, school does, the environment they live in, their friends, their family, all that. It plays a big toll into their mental health. So definitely having a relationship with your child or having a relationship with your parent is very essential in time of need, because the first thing your kid might do if they're dealing with something and they go, hey mom, hey dad, I'm dealing with this, I don't know what to do, shut up, go away, you're not depressed, you're a child, you don't know anything about that. The first thing your kid's going to do is run to something that's not, you know
Mm,
healthy to deal with, right? Because it is really a sad reality that there's 11-year-olds cutting themselves with razor blades at night when their parents sleeping because they feel unloved.
yeah.
That's a real reality. That's why so many kids, young kids, are addicted to drugs, and that should never be a reality in the world that we live in.
Ooh, that's true. Unfortunately, it is, but that's why we're doing this in hopes that somebody will catch on to this, and then we'll be able to spark a new um, trend where parents can speak with their children, have that compassion and that understanding. Um,
Right.
yeah, we want to try to break some chains and trauma bonds. Well, thank you for that. Okay, so the second topic is academics. How do you think parents should go about with um, maybe their expectations or how they pursue or encourage or how they just handle altogether academics with their youth?
Um, I definitely say be concerned, but don't be overwhelmed. There's a difference. Like, uh, like it's all good and all like being concerned about your child's academics and stuff because that's what any good parent would be worried about. But like beating your kid up for it isn't going to make it any better, right? Because like when was the last time you heard a parent say, hey, are you struggling with homework? And the child's like, yeah, low key, mom, I'm going through it right now. And the parent goes, sit down, let's do it together. But instead, the parent goes to the report card, why do you have uh X, Y, and Z grades? Why are you failing? Why is your GPA dropping? What are you doing in life? Ooh, da, da, da. You're not going to get anywhere with grades like this. And what the child's thinking right there is like, dang, I know she's right, but I don't know how to fix this either. Like, I'm struggling too. Like, like, so definitely the approach, if you notice that your child's academics isn't looking the greatest, is important, definitely, because um the way you go about it can make or break their spirit, right? So if the parent notices that the child's struggling with academics, instead of like going off on them, like asking why, like I think instead of asking why the academics are so bad, they should ask how they can help, right? Because, you know, uh conflict resolution isn't talked about enough within households, right?
Mm,
Because most parents believe that children are to be seen and not heard, right? Because when some people, when they were little kids, all they heard is stay in the child's place. You don't need to be inside of this adult conversation. Kids are meant to be seen, not heard. Uh, you're not growing up to talk about this. Da da da. And the child doesn't go away out their minds once they hit a certain age. They grow up with the same mentality. I don't know if I could talk to my mom about this because since I was a kid, she's been telling me I'm meant to be seen and not heard. So maybe she doesn't want to hear about my emotions. Maybe she doesn't want to hear about my trauma. Maybe she doesn't want to hear about my stress. Maybe she doesn't want to hear about my anxiety from school. So dealing with academics as a parent, I understand it can be overwhelming because the only thing you're caring about is the well-being of your child. But let's also take in consideration that your child is probably just as much as stressed out as you are about their academics as well.
All right. Right. Hopefully somebody took note from that. Okay, we have two more topics. You already touched on it briefly, and if you want to add some extra stuff into it, you can. And Zoom is telling us we have about a good 10 minutes. So,
Okay.
um, peer relationships. How do parents go about like how, yeah, just peer relationships. What advice, or is there any advice that parents should or can give their kid and during the youth years, or just take some experience about that? How was that for you?
I guess from my personal experience, like my parents will always be like you and dad, I'll be like, be careful who you hang around, pick your friends wisely. But at the moment, if that's all you have in life, you're not thinking about what your parents are saying to you, right? So like, excuse me, in the past with my friends, like some of them I only had at the moment, my parents are telling me to choose my friends wisely, but that's the only friend I have right now. You know, like that's my support system. That's the person I've been to. That's the person I talk to. That's the person I hang out with together every single day, right? So literally, like only honestly, from my experience, the only advice I can give is to let your child learn by themselves, right? Because the best experiences I've learned from in life was from me going through it by myself and learning from it. Because like afterwards, I'm like, man, I hate to say it, but my parents were right. But at the same time, I couldn't see it unless I lived through it, right? So yeah, you might just have to let your child experience that within themselves because they won't know what bad friends look like if they don't have one, right? And they don't learn from what that bad friend looks like. Because, you know, if they have all good friends for 20 years of their lifetime and they get 35 and they can't see that their friend from work is low key trying to scam them out of their finances, how would they know? Because the whole life they had good friends. I'd rather learn at 11 or 16 that some people are weird and fake than at 45, you know? So some things you have to go through within yourself to become stronger, and I think that's one of them.
All right. Well said. Well said. Okay, last topic. Life skills.
Life skills.
Life skills. How important is it for parents or the child-parent relationship? Um, Parents teaching life skills, or just I'm gonna just throw that at you. Life skills. What about that?
I think it's very critical for kids to learn how to do basic things at a very early age because there is 19-year-olds right now out here who does not know how to do laundry. As a 19-year-old, you should not know how to do laundry, how to fold your clothes, how to iron your clothes, how to, I don't know, change a tire, put oil in your car, basic human skills because it will reflect in their adult life, right? Just for example, in the army, I have met some of the most incompetent adults in my life from being in the army. There is no reason as a 25-year-old grown woman, that you do not know how to separate white and dark clothes in the laundry, right?
Mm,
There's no reason you shouldn't know not like how to do laundry, common courtesy, basic human cues, like skills because whether people want to accept it or believe it or not, the way adults act is because of how they were treated during their childhood, right? So if you never told your kid when they were 5 years old, hey, don't do this because it looks like this. Don't do that because this happens after that, cause and effect, right? Your grown adult of a child now is going to think it's okay to talk to people any sort of way just because when they was a kid, your child will scream at you and you, oh, that's just fine, that's how boys are, you know. Oh, he just hit your daughter, but that's how boys are. And 25 years from now, you told your son all these years ago, since a young age, it was okay for him to treat women like that, and now he's a rapist.
mm, ouch.
Rapist now.
Yeah.
Because he was told when he was 7 years old by his mom, no, so we know that little Miss Cindy said for you not to put your hands on her, but that's how boys act. That's how boys are. The boys are playful. Until it's a grown man unconsciously putting his hands on another individual, and that's just how men are, right? So back to life skills sorts of things though, it is very important to have life skills as a young adult and definitely as an adult, right? Because as a 19-year-old, I now we're not going to well, I know how to cook because I cook at work. That doesn't mean I know how to do it myself, right? I know how to cook. Do I like to cook? No. I know how to cook, I know how to clean, I know how to file my own taxes because I file my own taxes. I save my own money. I have my own credit card. I'm opening up my own savings account. I have my own trust fund already. I can change my own tires in my car. I'm learning sometime next week how to do my own oil change. I can put on oil in my car. I could jump my own car. I could jack my own car up, replace all the fluids in my own car. You know, the basic essentials as a young adult should have, right? Because if you don't teach your child these things early, it will reflect wherever they go in life. Because your child can be the dirty roommate in college.
Mm.
Your child can be the loud and obnoxious roommate in college, right? Your child can be the weird, creepy coworker. Your child can be the pedophile. Your child can be the rapist. Your child can be the sexual assaulter, right? So it is very important to teach your kids critical things at a very early age, in my opinion. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully somebody hears that and challenge themselves on these basic things, supporting their mental health, their academics, their peer relations, and life skills. It's never too early to start. I believe I started you guys. Well, I mean, early, very, very early, as far as ironing clothes, just basic stuff. It's been since early. Okay, well, you have it here. This is our first episode, um, actual topic, but second episode. Sorry, first topic, second episode of Parenting in the Cocoon. I am your host, Joyce Kenny of Amiris Enterprises LLC, where we are equipping parents with practical tools to help support their teens. Continue to follow us. Hopefully, this has been a blessing to you. And I will have more topics coming up. Once again, it's Naomi. Thank you so much, my firstborn. This is who made me a mother, um, little mini me. But I'm so proud of you, everything that you're doing. Just the endeavor, you and your brother, like I said. I'm very, very proud of you guys. And I just, just appreciate you being my second person on this thing. This has always been a dream for me. So as I'm watching you guys flourish in your dreams of what it is that you set to do, it's just a blessing to see that I'm at the point now where you guys are now supporting me. Um,
Right.
with what it is that I've always wished to do. So we thank you once again for joining this episode of Parenting in the Cocoon and giving us your insight and your experience and your wisdom to give out to the parents. And hopefully, some parents and some youth will learn from whatever it is that you have shared with them. All right. Until next time, Joyce Kenny, Amiris Enterprises LLC, Parenting in the Cocoon. We're out. Do you want to say anything? Final words.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're out. Thank you guys and tune in for next time.
Bye.